Who are you really? Can I be honest? Most people, myself included, rarely take the time to evaluate that before they step into the spotlight. We pick an identity and we try so hard to get people to agree with the terms that we've set out. Speaking for myself, when I first started music, I thought I had to be the hardest rapper in the game. I saw what worked in the industry and felt like I had to conform to that role. In the secular space, I was talking about my many relationships, and in the Christian space, it was making sure my Jesus per minute meter was off the charts. All while doing this, I had believed that I deserved a place that wasn't mine to begin with. I thought because I had a song with no big deal, I could call D-Trop, and that the official social media handles were following me, I deserved to be at a higher musical space than I was. This is dangerous because when you maneuver in an industry or a space with the thought that you belong there and you haven't earned it, you run the risk of being exposed. And once you're exposed, you're gonna have a really hard time trying to fix that. Today, I might hurt some feelings. I'm not setting out to do that, but I feel like this is something that needs to be said and addressed. We have gotten to the point where people believe that they're suffering from this mindset disease when in all actuality, they're just not there yet. Today, I want to talk about imposter syndrome, what it is, what it's not, and to see if you are really suffering from it. Hopefully, by the end of all of this, you do a self-evaluation and see, is it really imposter syndrome, or are you just not that guy? Before we get started, my name is Ryan. I am a brand and communications consultant who helps solopreneurs and multi-million-dollar business owners take their personal social media and use it to help them build their networks, all while encouraging them to keep it completely honest. So, what is imposter syndrome? Simply put, imposter syndrome is the psychological experience where people are doubting their accomplishments and live with a persistent fear that they're always going to be exposed as a fraud. Even though they may have achieved great things, they have a hard time believing in their own success. It's like they've fooled everybody in the room and they're just not that guy. And this is a real thing. I don't want to discredit anybody who really suffers from that. Some really accomplished people that I know personally can really get into their heads about what they have accomplished in the past, and they'll let somebody take the credit before they do. They're always putting themselves down. I can't get behind that. You should put the proper value on your achievements. You're allowed to be proud of yourself. That is a natural feeling. In the best case scenario, you should be able to remind yourself about your exploits and remember that you deserve that spot. The problem occurs when someone who hasn't really established themselves points to imposter syndrome as a way to justify their actions. Not everyone is supposed to be in this elevated position. Sometimes it's just an inflated self-perception, imposter fraudulation, if you will. So let's talk about it. And in order to do so, let's meet Brad. Brad constantly complains about being a fraud. He claims to have imposter syndrome, feels like at any moment he's going to be exposed as someone who doesn't really know what he's doing. However, Brad's accomplishments are him taking credit for things that he's never done, or he embellishes the little that he actually has done. He might exaggerate his skills on his resume or downplay the contributions of everybody else who was on the team just to make himself feel a little bit more important. There's posturing. Maybe Brad joined a group and surrounded himself with actual leaders, paid someone to write an article about an interview that he's done, had somebody ghostwrite a book, or maybe Brad started a podcast. In so doing, Brad is trying to position himself as someone who really knows what they're doing, but he doesn't actually. For someone like Brad, claiming imposter syndrome is a way for him to deflect responsibility away from his lack of genuine skill and accomplishment. It allows him to avoid taking ownership of his shortcomings and shift the focus to self-doubt instead of his actual performance. The initiated call this imposter fabrication. That's when someone uses the claim of imposter syndrome to shield from their inadequacies and their incompetence. Or they could be suffering from inflated imposter syndrome. This is claiming the phenomenon while simultaneously not having any accomplishments that should generate it, at least not genuine feelings of self-doubt. Those people are using imposter syndrome to avoid taking responsibility for their shortcomings. They blame mistakes on self-doubt, deflect accountability, and they prevent genuine improvement. Imagine a student blaming imposter syndrome over inadequate study habits. This manipulative behavior hinders personal growth and masks the need to address actual weaknesses. Also, this inflated imposter syndrome can be used to garner sympathy and manipulate expectations. By claiming to experience it, someone may receive lower expectations, leniency for poor performance, and even additional support. Picture a colleague constantly missing deadlines while citing imposter syndrome as a way to gain extra time or to avoid any and all consequences. This tactic creates an unfair advantage and hinders overall team production. And finally, the imposter label can be used to avoid actual challenging tasks. Someone might express anxieties about new responsibilities while citing imposter syndrome to avoid having to get out of their comfort zones. This would be an employee always trying to avoid leadership roles, again, which limits their personal growth as well as the team's growth. So, is it imposter syndrome, or are you just not there yet? The key lies in honesty. I want to challenge us all to take a critical look at ourselves. Are we truly putting in the work to better ourselves and placing a foundation for success, or are we trying to shortcut the process? True imposter syndrome can be a tough experience even for overachievers and high achievers. However, it is crucial to determine whether it's imposter syndrome or imposter fabrications, using the term as a shield to deflect from greater responsibilities or a lack of genuine skill in an area. Don't be Brad. Building a successful career takes time and effort and a willingness to learn from your mistakes. So make them. Embrace the journey, acknowledge your achievements, and focus on continuous improvements. If self-doubt is really holding you back, seek support and guidance. Talk to mentors. Take relevant courses. Celebrate your milestones. Remember, everyone starts somewhere. Focus on the things that you can control: your work ethic, your attitude, your commitment to growth. And finally, let's not forget the power of community. Surround yourself with positive and supporting people who want you to come out as your best. Authentic connections can be a source of encouragement and inspiration as you go down your preferred paths. By embracing honesty, building your skills, and fostering genuine connections, you can overcome self-doubt and achieve your true potential. As always, thank you for joining me today. If you've gotten value from this video, share it with 3 more people who you know will benefit from the discussion. Also, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel so you can get more insights on branding and communication strategies. And don't forget to check out this video where we expatiate on why it's better to be the kingmaker and not always the king. We'll see you there.